It's showtime.
All right, welcome to another episode of Black as Black, a little homegrown podcast thing here that I do mainly for fun. And today I've got a old friend on again. Welcome, Mark Lips.
All right.
And so today it's Mark Lips, and there he is. There he is. All right, we're off and running now. Yeah, I like to try to be active with this thing, switch between the gallery view and the speaker view, and so now that we got that out of the way, I'm going to go back to the speaker view. So anyway, I wanted to start off. Oh, yeah. First of all, did you hear this latest story about our great President Joe Biden? I guess they've come to the realization that there's a whole segment of voters out there that he's just not identifying with. So they decided that they would get together, all of them get in there in the Oval Office and try to figure out what they needed to do to pick up this segment of voters that they're missing on. And they decided that the segment was country boys and rednecks. So they thought and come up with these different ideas and finally settled on one that they thought was a shoe-in and it would work. They need Joe to go down to Mississippi and go on a duck hunt and take some country boys and rednecks with him and film it all, of course. And so okay. So they loaded up the next morning and got on Air Force One and they took off down to Vicksburg, Mississippi, and they got there and they got in that little black SUV thing and rode out in the country to this farm that had a nice pond on it, pristine little pond. It was well known for ducks coming in. And so they got out and they got Joe his hip waders and got him buckled up, handed him a shotgun. And of course, Secret Service was around him, and they brought the four of these cowboy, country boy guys up, four rednecks, and introduced them around. And they said, "Well, let's go out here and get in the blind." So they get out there and they get in the blind, and they had the rednecks around. The Secret Service was dressed up as bushes and whatnot, and pretty soon here comes the ducks flying in, and they said, Joe, now point your gun at the ducks and lead it just a little bit and then pull the trigger. And Joe said, okay. So he started leading it and bam, he shot that duck, but he just winged it good. And it took a trajectory and ended up landing in the neighbors on the roof of the neighbor's barn. So there you go, Joe, you got to go get it, man. You got to show them what a man you are. You got to show them, come on, you got to go get that duck. So he heads over that way and he comes to a fence. Well, out on the other side of that fence, farmer is sitting there chewing on straw. And Joe says, hey, I'm Joe Biden, President of the United States. I just shot a duck and it's landed on your roof and I'd like to come get it. And farmer says, well, you can't do that. See, that duck landed on my roof. Is my duck now. Joe, he started scratching his head and one of the bushes come up to him, whispered something in his ear. And he said, well, he says, sir, maybe there's a way we could negotiate this and give me a chance to get that duck. Farmer, he scratched his head for a minute. And he goes, okay, I think I got it. Joe said, okay, what is it? He goes, we're going to have a kick in the nuts contest. He said, I'm going to kick you in the nuts. Then you're going to kick me in the nuts. And we're going to keep doing that till the last man standing. Then he can have the duck. Joe, Bush comes up to him, Joe, you got to do this. Joe says, okay. So the farmer, he steps over the fence, walks up to Joe, and he hauls back and he kicks him so hard, so square in the nuts, it drops him like a sack of taters. And Joe's laying on the ground, crying, whining, trying to get his breath and everything, rubbing his balls. And finally, he tried to get up and kind of like when he fell the other day, but They grabbed him by the armpits and pulled him up and whispered in his ear, Joe said, "That's your turn. You got to go kick him in the nuts. You make it good." And so Joe says to the farmer, he says, "Well," he says, "okay, I guess it's my turn now to kick you in the nuts." The farmer said, "No, that's okay. You can have the duck."
Have the goose, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I had to get that out of the way. I know that was long winded, but
Boy, holy cow, man! You could have had a whole show on that. Hey, I do have you guys all, we were the Lips family, right? Mount Vernon.
Yep.
My dad was either loaning you the money or my uncle was either building your house, right?
Yeah, taking it.
But hey, so what was Ray Black to you?
Ray's my uncle, or was my uncle.
Ray's your uncle.
Okay. And he worked for Bob for, God, I don't know how. I remember the first time I remember going to Ray's office, it was down there on Main Street, that little block building that I think's an auto body shop now or something.
Yeah, I don't know what's there now, but yeah, Ray, he was a character, man.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Yeah. But that side of the family always hunted. Uncle Bob went elk hunting, all that. My side of the family, they were, my dad and mom, I mean, they were always out organizing a party or some social gathering or something like that.
Right. Different, completely different styles. Yeah.
Totally different styles. But so when I I never did much hunting.
Right.
And when I got to Springfield, Missouri, I was anchoring the news there, and the Ozark Sportsman asked me to be a guest on their show.
On the show. Yeah.
And so I got there. And I said, "Mr. Lips, you ever hunted before?" And I said, "Well, I've shot guns and stuff, but I've not really hunted a lot." He goes, "Okay, you'll walk in front." And so, so we get to, you can hear the announcer. He's going, "All right, we can tell the dog's on point. It looks like Channel 27, Mark Lips, anchor Channel 27 has the shot. Mark has the shot." Okay, we're getting closer and closer. Well, that chucker flew up and went over me. So I, of course, with my gun, I'm going, "Oh!"
Right.
And the next thing, and the outtakes to that, we looked at the outtakes later, and all you see is that cameraman. All of a sudden, he's going, "Oh, shit!" Right. and that camera went right into the dirt.
Yeah, duck and cover, right?
Shoot you guys. I wasn't shoot you guys. And then another time, the guy was training his dog, and the chucker was on the ground, and it wasn't flying. And someone kind of tried to scare it up, and so it scared it, and then it flew over the dog. The dog jumped up. It's a new dog, right? Jumped up while I had a bead on it, and
you didn't.
The guy just freaked out, and I said, "Don't worry, I'm not going to shoot your dog." He goes, "Oh, thank God!" I thought that was a back in those days, a $1,500 dog, Well, so
wow,
that was a neat story. Yeah,
that
was fun.
Yeah, I remember Grandpa, which would have been Ray's dad. Always in the hallway there in their house had the shotguns lined up on the rack, and the very top one was a 10 gauge.
Yeah,
the bottom one was a 410. So as kids, we got to go out and hunt in the fields and stuff with the 410, and then we got up to a bird gun, 16 gauge, and then a little older we got to a 12 gauge. But the goal was always to shoot that 10 gauge.
I don't think I've ever shot a 10 gauge. 12 gauge.
It's got some kick. It's got some kick.
You worked your way up to the 12 gauge. I didn't know to go beyond that.
Well, there wasn't a lot of them, I guess, around. 12 gauge was pretty much the standard, but yeah, for like deer hunting, slugs and stuff like that. But I don't know. I remember the day I shot it. I didn't have it really tight against my shoulder, and left me with a pretty good bruise.
Yeah. Well, we used to go out. My great grandmother, she had a farm, and going, and that went back quite a while ago. And one of the Sheltons, remember the Shelton gang?
Yeah.
One of the Sheltons was her neighbor. In fact, she remembers when he got shot off his tractor. That was Carl. That was the last of the Sheltons. No one liked him at that point. And once they got that guy and the other Sheltons moved to Florida, they burned anything that had to do with a Shelton,
Right.
burns everything. But, we used to shoot out there all the time with the 22s or the 12 gauge, or I don't think we had a 410. But yeah, that was fun. Always fun.
Right.
Of course, we went to my uncle's house. It was like what you were talking about. We went out to my uncle's house, my Uncle Bob. Holy cow, it was an armory.
Right.
I mean, pistols and automatics and
Right.
it was holy mackerel.
Yeah, different. I mean, I got guns here in Apollo Beach, but I can't go any. I got to pay money to go shoot them somewhere.
Yeah, same.
You can't even go out, in the country like we used to and start firing rounds, and the cops are going to show up.
Well, I could probably, here I could probably go out and shoot somewhere, even maybe, depending on what I'm shooting, because they'll fire off rounds over in the fields just to get the crows and everybody out. But there's a couple of shooting ranges around here, and I've got an 1894 Winchester.
Oh, nice.
30-30 basically, and I've got the shotgun.
Lever action.
Yep. And got a couple pistols, So I haven't shot in a long time. Of course, now
me neither.
Well, I'm blind in my right eye too, so I can't.
Yeah, I always shot both eyes open. So
I've got either pistol shoot or
switch arms.
Arms.
Yeah. Well, listen, I had a couple of things I wanted to get through here. The first one is, and I've got some pictures I'll put in here later, but tell me about the inception or conception of the right choice and how you got into farming. From what you just said, you wasn't a country boy in Mount Vernon, but you've turned into one now.
And plus living 25 years at the beach in LA. So,
right.
I was a city boy coming up here. It's like green acres. And, when the kids, first of all, the ripe choice, RIPE, like a ripe piece of fruit.
Right.
That was Tammy's voiceover name. That was her when she was doing, as an actor, when she was doing voiceovers and all of that, the name of her LLC was the Ripe Choice.
Right.
So we were living in Manhattan Beach, Southern California, and we, I always wanted her to have something. I mean, by the time we hit the third kid, the acting thing was moving on, and she was pretty much a stay-at-home mom, and she always loved to cook. We entertained a lot, and she always loved to cook. She grew up very poor in northern Indiana. I mean, she was making meals since she was 7 years old for her family. She was cooking dinner and everything else. So she always had a good sense of it and always enjoyed it, So I said, well, she said, maybe I'll go take a cooking class. I said, hey, that's great. That's great. So she went and took this cooking class. And then all of a sudden she said, I think I'm going to enroll in the school. So I said, that's great. It had nothing to do with us, the kids, the schools, the neighborhood, anything. So it was all her. And of course she graduated, and next thing I know, she's starting a catering company, and I become a caterer's widow.
I got
Let me tell your boys, don't marry a caterer.
Right.
There goes your weekends. And they work hard, man, those caterers. I would see her doing something for, a dinner for 500 somewhere, Malibu or wherever. And I said, honey, you still like what you're doing? And she said, yeah. I said, man, that looks like work to me.
Right.
But
hard work.
Yeah, no kidding. No, yeah, hard work. But once the kids were out of the house, I was pushed into retirement from Fox, and I didn't want to go back into the TV business and all of that. Probably dumb. I should have taken this job at Warner Brothers, but kids were out of the house, and I was ready to buy the house in Italy for $1. Do something adventurous,
right?
Have an adventure somewhere, right?
Right.
And Tammy was still a homebody. She wanted to stay at the beach, but she got this thing. This realtor sent this book to all the restaurant owners and caterer owners in LA, probably San Francisco, Seattle, San Diego, all over. And it was for this 6-acre farm that had vineyards and tricked out barn with a commercial kitchen and event space. And she brings that to me. She says, look at this. This is up in Northern California. You know what? I think we could do this. Let's do this. You know, I'm going, I'm up for it now. Anything, man. I'm ready
Right.
to go. I'm ready to something new and different, adventurous. You know, let's go. I
Right.
was going, you know, instead of going to, it wasn't just going to Rotary every Monday morning and, you know, doing whatever, you know, the routine. So I was breaking it
Yeah.
up. So we literally within 2 months, we bought the place and we moved up here 2 days before the COVID lockdown.
Wow.
So there went the business plan, you know.
Right.
But with also the budget we had set up for the next 2 years. But the cool thing, Rich, was my kids weren't working either.
All right.
So they and their girlfriends all came up to the farm. We spent 2 months just hanging out and having fun at the farm.
Yeah. Can't beat it, huh?
When do you get to have that adult time with your kids uninterrupted? You know,
Right.
like
Right.
you're not running them off to soccer games and basketball or doing whatever, school and stuff. These kids are adults and they're adulting fun and you're adulting fun. And it was just a blast. We'll never get that. Not that we want it back, but never get that kind of
Right. Right.
again, you know?
Understood. Understood. I know. I got grandkids now. You got any grandkids?
No, man.
Yeah. Did you have a talk with them boys?
My oldest son, who's 32 now, got married in 2000, just last year,
Wow.
or the year before last. And you know, and they're both professionals. She's a therapist. He works as a grip in the movie industry and TV industry, and so I don't know if I'm ever going to get any kids from them. And then if Jackson, he's got a girlfriend, but you know, not seeing any marriage proposals happening. And he's 30, and
Right.
then Graham's 26, and I'm not even sure if he's dating. He's my, I don't know where he got it. He's my sales guy. You know, the rest of us all came up on the creative side. He's my sales guy. He's the guy on Monday morning on the group text. Let's crush it. You know,
Right.
What podcast are you listening to, Graham? You know, but anyway, I would love, and I tell people all the time, oh, I would love to get a grandkid soon. Before all I'm asking for is, hey, can I have a banana?
Yeah.
You know,
Hell, I got 8.
that's great, man.
I
Now-
got from about 20, I think 28 or 29 years old down to about 8 months. So they're
Wait,
scattered all the
that
way
old?
down.
That are that
Yeah.
old?
Yeah, I got 28 or
Thank you.
29.
Well,
Actually,
I was a late bloomer anyway, but still, man.
well, let me tell the rest of that story. When I married Peggy, she already had a daughter by Dickie Green. I don't know if you remember Dickie Green or not. He used to work for Bob.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like 7 at the time. And so she was the first to get married and have the grandkids. Well, I would have only been 14 had she been mine. So that, you know what I mean? So there's a little offset there, that 7-year offset that it's got to be accounted for. But anyway, yeah, Melissa's got 2, Kelly and Mitchell.
But so they married young, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I married the first time I was 18 out of high school,
Well,
a few months.
And that's a Mount Vernon thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And then
That's
nowadays it looks like like you're talking with your kids, they put it off till they're kind of financially stable and,
yeah.
Smart thing to do, actually.
Well, it's a smart thing to do, but it's like my dad said, if you wait till you think you can afford to have a baby, you'll never have it.
Right.
You know?
That's true.
So, but it is a different group out here. I mean, they're more focused on, I don't know, whatever it is, but.
Well, let's talk about the state of California.
Oh my God.
I see a lot of stuff on the news with this governor you got. And I just read something the other day that was kind of shocking. It said since 2000, California has lost 2 million people have moved out of there. The population of Chicago and St. Louis combined.
Yeah, that's right. Mainly it's housing. I mean, the stats are out there. You've got to be making at least $250,000 a year or so before you can even afford a home here.
Right.
Decent. a decent home for a family.
And then how
You
much
know?
on top of that just to afford food and gas?
Well, gas, yes. Food, I'm not sure food's any more expensive here than a lot of places.
Anywhere else, right? Right.
Yeah, but gas, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've got
I filled up yesterday, paid I think it was 211.
Yeah, no, we have people
Uh
who've moved to Texas and other places, and they love to send back a picture of the price on that gas
on the
tank.
back pump. Yeah.
Oh my
Well, I
gosh,
cheat though.
we're
I
here, and and it's wild because we own oil, we have
right,
oil. I
right.
don't get it. I don't freaking get it. I even think, you know, I always thought I told Chevron. I knew one of the board of directors on Chevron, and I told her, I said, you know what Chevron ought to do? At least give the neighborhoods that are around that oil plant a break on the gas. Have
Right.
special rates for
The
those.
delivery charge has got to be significantly lower.
Yeah, I mean it's unbelievable. But yeah, we're at almost $5. It fluctuates. So we're between $4.50 and $5. If you go out on the freeway, they
Oh my.
really get.
Yeah.
You're driving to LA and you're out on the freeway and you pull over on one of those off ramps, you might pay $5 or $6.
Oh yeah, no. At one
No,
point I think I heard it was like $7.
oh,
My
that was
son's
yeah.
up.
Oh no, it's been there. It's been
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But it's and then the nickel and diming you, all the permit fees and the
Taxes and well,
taxes
you
and
gotta
stuff.
collect those taxes because the people that are leaving California, at least it's staying populated with all the illegals and the homeless and all
Yeah,
that.
you got illegals all over
Uh,
Texas and
I
all
know.
on the border.
I gotta
Uh,
say they don't come to Florida because well they interviewed one and asked him why they didn't go to Florida and they said well because they put you in jail there.
do
So
they?
yeah, if you can't
I thought you got a free plane ride to like,
Martha's Vineyard or somewhere.
yeah, right,
Yeah, right.
exactly. Martha's Vineyard.
Well, now the scam is I hear that they come over the border and they if they're encountered they get a debit card with $5,000 on it and a cell phone and then
No,
ask where they want to go and they also get a thing saying you got to appear in court 3 or 4 years from now. But the scam now is they slip back across the border and re-enter and get
yeah.
another $5,000, another cell phone.
Are you not passing along fake news? $5,000?
That's the numbers that I've seen on
I'm gonna look. I'm gonna Google that or look at that.
Google it up. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
yeah.
though that that's the number that they're given on a debit card to, and then they're sending them up to New York and putting them.
Just for coming across the border.
Yeah, well, those are the encountered, the ones that they actually are going to process at some point in time.
Yeah,
The ones that are encountered only, not just anybody,
right.
but they ship them up to New York City. I mean, now those cities are crying for help because they've taken all these nice hotels and turned them into migrant camps.
Mm-hmm.
And the stories that come out of those towns and cities where that's happening is they're trashing the place.
Well, let me ask you this though, too, because we live up here and we got a lot of what is it, HR2, H2,
HR
workers that
12 or something. Yeah.
they have a visa to come up for and work in the vineyards and all of that, and you got to put them up and all that, and then they head back down to Mexico. But
Right.
no one else will do the work.
Exactly. Oh, the same thing. I did an interview with Mayor John Lewis, and I asked him, were they being impacted by the illegals and stuff? And he said, well, in Mount Vernon, not so much, but he says a lot of the places that need this seasonal help and stuff they love it because they have them there and when they need them, and then I don't know what they do after that.
We've got Scully Pear Packing. We've got Greg Pinella has his pear orchard, big pear. These are big commercial pear producers, and then of course your big vineyards and all of that. And I know the owners of those things, and they will tell you that they would rather hire some of the migrants and the people they've hired who come back every year for those 3 months or whatever it is,
right,
than anyone else because they work hard.
Yeah.
They're
And
hard.
that's the sad part about it.
They can't get any locals. They always
Right.
come up with, I can't come in today, or I can't,
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
we're not helping ourselves,
No. And that's kind of the bad thing about it is, the way the border's so open right now and they're flooding in, that's who it's hurting is the ones that want to come in legally and do the work, like you say, and all, and so now they're taking their jobs.
Fortunately, our vineyards, our the pear shops and all of that, the pear orchards and all that, they have their regular group of guys that they know they can count on.
Right.
And,
they're seasonally every year. Yep.
Every year. And listen, we have what we call up here ag venture, and that is it's once a month for 4 months, a deep dive all day into the business of the pear business, the walnut business, the vineyards, and
you do a lot of lettuce in Southern Cal. You do a lot of lettuce and strawberries and stuff like that.
Schools. We go to the schools and we'll look at the schools and what they've got going on in their vocational programs and stuff like that. And one of the neatest things they do is they have the foremans, and these are typically all Mexican foremans who they come up and they get to, like, we entertained. We had one of the meetings at our barn, and they get up and they tell their story, how they got here, how they made it to foreman. They all speak English very well. All of those things, how they got, and it's amazing. These stories are amazing. What they escaped from, what it took to get them here, and then what they did from there. It's amazing, these guys. But you're right. They're hurting the opportunities for people who really want to come and have a better life that they can then send back and create a better life for their family back in Mexico or whatever.
Right.
And it's a conundrum. It's a conundrum.
And the scary part is all of the illegals that are coming in from countries that hate us, wonder why they're coming. I fully expect at some point we're going to set up cells, and the Chinese are flooding in here. I mean, it's
the Chinese are buying things.
Yeah, and they're hacking power grids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's scary time.
I'm waiting for someone. I hate to even say it. Thinking, oh man, somebody will take this and run with it. But some of these reservoirs, somebody's going to poison the water. Someone's going to do something.
Exactly.
And just yesterday, I was talking to a rancher, and water is the new oil.
Sure.
And
especially out there.
And they're making noises about charging all of us who have well water, charging for our well water.
Well, like Colorado banned harvesting rainwater.
I know. And that's
crazy.
Those guys, it's wild. Those guys like in Colorado and Utah, they had laws on the books that go back over 100 years ago that allow them to do that. It's just no one paying attention to it. Now they're paying attention to it because everybody's trying to grab a piece of the pie or whatever it is. And I tell you, one guy was saying yesterday, he said, you know what? That's when the straw will break the camel's back, and they'll see insurrection. They'll see
exactly.
They'll see
that term insurrection. First of all, let's do the song cut right here that you requested, White Snake. And I'm gonna cut the recording right quick so I can edit this easier, and then we'll come right back.
I don't know where I'm going. Hanging on the promises and songs of yesterday. And I've made up my mind. I ain't wasting no more time. Here I go again. Light 'em up, Jason. Make some noise, Tokyo. Searching for an answer, I never seem to find what I'm looking for. Oh Lord, I pray you give me the strength to carry on, 'cause I know what it means. What? Here I go again on my own, going down the only road I've ever known. Like a drifter, I was born to walk alone. But I've made up my mind. I ain't wasting no more time. I'm just another heart in need of rescue, waiting on love, sweet charity. And I'm gonna hold on for the rest of my days, 'cause I know what it means to walk along the lonely street of dreams. Here I go again on my own, going down the only road I've ever known. Like a drifter, I was born to walk alone. And I made up my mind. I ain't wasting too many hours. Here I go. And I made up my mind. Where are you? Here I go again on my own, going down the only road I've ever known. Like a drifter, I was born to walk alone. I made up my mind. Yes. Here I go again on my own, going down the only road I've ever known. Like a drifter, I was born to walk alone. And I made up my mind. I ain't wasting no time. Here I go. Here I go again. Oh my God, no! God, no! Thank you very much indeed.
All right, there you go. White Snake.
You know,
Here I go again.
that I've always told my kids, and when that song first came, I always thought it was about me.
Right.
Because here we go again. I've had so
On my
many,
own.
I've had so many lives that it's like, here we go again.
You're right. You're right.
And, in fact, trying to remember. Oh shoot, I'm just blanking on his name. One of my sons, when you could go and what do they call that? It's where you can go online and you can have some famous person say happy birthday to you.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah. The Jib Jab?
Huh?
Jib Jab?
No, not Jib
Oh,
Jab.
no, I know what you're talking about.
Literally the person,
I
and
know.
and my sons had the lead singer of White Snake sing that song.
Right.
Literally, not acoustic, but just by himself on a guitar. And he
Right.
said, "Hey, Mark, happy birthday, man! I'm sending this out to you. Coolest thing in the world."
Oh, yeah, yeah. I've heard a radio station down here talk about, I guess they get paid for doing it.
Oh no, they're not.
One of the DJs here.
It's
he talks about. I can't remember the name of it either, though.
Yeah, and it's cool. It's cool,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
if you want to do it, I mean, it's a way to make a few extra bucks.
Sure.
They pay him to do that. And
anyway, back to that word insurrection.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, that gets thrown around a lot here lately, doesn't it?
Well, I always, once again, all it takes is a few beers, and next thing you know, you're talking using the word. But Greg Pinella, and these are college educated guys, right?
Right.
Greg Pinella, who has the pear farm. Big Greg, another Greg I know, who's just big high-end contractor in Napa and all that. And there's another rancher, I'm blanking on his name, but I don't know him that well. But literally, if you ask them, they don't get into a long discussion on it. All they say is, "Over my dead body."
Right.
That's all they say. And
well, to me, it's the whole problem I have with it is they're using that. It's like Colorado trying to pull Trump off the ballot. Well, I mean, to me, that in itself is unconstitutional. But then they always say because he was involved in the insurrection. Well, okay, that might be, but I thought you had to be charged and found guilty.
I don't think it was that. I think it was that he had been found guilty of with those girls, with those ladies.
Jane E. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Carol.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what it was. They were doing that, but it's going to be interesting next.
It is
10 years. I mean, look, let's talk about AI.
Oh yeah.
Forget about the politics, man. Forget about the politics. All right. Let's talk about the danger of AI.
Yep.
AI. I mean, this is 2001 Space Odyssey, which everybody thought was this futuristic thing really happening.
How?
Open the pod doors. How?
You're right.
I mean, no, AI is going to, follow the AI. It's okay when it's GPS or things like that, but at some point, that AI is already, they're beginning to capture emotions.
Exactly.
And we may be their pets.
Exactly. Well, I mean, there's a lot of things happening with that. I know right now, investment wise, there's a lot of money to be made in some of those AI companies. But the scary part is, like you said, eventually they figure it out on their own and they make their own decisions. And hopefully we got a fail-proof stop and we can stop it if it goes too far.
I don't know. I think the genie's out of the bottle. The thing is, AI doesn't get dumber. It only gets smarter.
Right.
It loads up all this information. I mean, at some point, here's the scary part. Once again, I hate to even say it. Somebody's going to go, "Hey, give me what I need to make a nuclear bomb. Give me what I need to do this." And it will just spit it out.
Nothing to it.
I know guys who have written. I know a guy, actually he's in Bloomington. Sam introduced me to him. He was on one of our podcasts, and he wrote a book using AI. He just put in his headlines for each chapter, right? and it spit out what
Yeah.
was able
I,
to.
I've played around with that chat. What is it? GP something or other or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, it's amazing. You ask it. I think that particular one cut off sometime in 21, so you can't get any really current stuff from it. But
Really? Because I
yeah,
went. Okay. Yeah.
that particular whatever one it was one of the first ones out there. And but yeah, if you ask it anything relevant to 22 or 23, it'll tell you. I don't have any information on that.
Oh, wow.
But I'm sure there's others that do. You know.
Yeah.
But
No,
listen, we're down to 2 minutes here. I want to talk about real quick. Tell us about your podcast, Good Enough.
Well, good enough. That's Sam and I. You know, Sam Lewis. He lives
Yep.
in Bloomington, Illinois. Has a Pride Staff, owns a little company there that he franchised, and he and I reconnected. Well, we've always been connected, but we reconnected really well with creating this podcast called Good Enough, because too many people want everything to be perfect, and you got to realize that at some point, don't let perfect get in the way of good. You know.
Yeah.
And it's good enough. And usually when it is good enough, it gets better. At least you got a starting point.
Exactly.
Right? We and it's interesting. Most of our guests have been authors, people who've written books and stuff. So
Right.
that's interesting. But we're still trying to find our way, trying to find our niche. Still trying to get beyond maybe the 10 viewers that watch us regularly.
Right. Right. I kind of watch our stats on this little thing, and
Okay.
I think I got 21 subscribers. I think last time I looked.
Yeah.
But I try, for a long time I tried to stay out of politics. But right now, that's the only thing anybody's talking about. It's all political.
Well, it's
so,
interesting. It's
yeah,
interesting.
might as well jump right
because,
in. You know?
Because it's the lessers of two evils, really. I mean,
Yeah.
and I don't agree with the character of Trump, but Biden.
Yeah. Oh my.
What's our
He
choice?
just shot himself in the foot yesterday. I think it was yesterday evening after the report came out, and I'm down to 1 minute. So the report came out that said he was, an elderly old man with poor memory and all that. And then he comes out and does a presser that evening, and boom,
Right.
he's calling the Mexico guy, CC from Egypt or wherever. Like, oh my God.
No, he doesn't help himself either. And so, I'm not enamored with the Republicans. I'm not enamored with the Democrats either.
Right,
and,
exactly.
To find someone in the middle who's got some common sense. But
all right, we're on our way out.
Ah,
Thank you. This has been interesting. It's been fun. We'll do it again sometime. Mark Lips, everybody.
Good seeing you, buddy.
All right,
Bye.
you too. Bye.